Well, now it's time to kickstart the second half of the day, and straight in we are diving into a very exciting subject. And it is a panel discussion on a theme that challenges every single business today: innovation versus sustainability. We know that sustainability is no longer a choice, it is a necessity. While it is equally important to stay abreast of what all is happening around us, innovation, and in particular, artificial intelligence is remolding and reshaping the industries like no other. So how to balance it out? How can businesses manage both? This is a very important question. And to take us through this crucial discussion, we have got our elite panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please help me welcome with a Miss Samina Chowdhary, all the way from USA. She happens to be the first panelist, a distinguished global luxury real estate advisor with over 30 years of experience. Trusted by diplomats, cultural leaders, and members of Congress, Samina brings deep insight into real estate innovation while also championing women empowerment and sustainability initiatives. Samina, it's truly an honor to have you join us on this beautiful occasion. Thank you. Thank you. Well, joining Samina, we have got our moderator today, Caitlin Locascio-King, all the way from the US, the founder of Magenta Fusion Brand Works, an attorney turned branding strategist. Caitlin blends legal precision with creative strategy, helping entrepreneurs and professionals build powerful, compliant, and ethical brands that thrive in the digital age. Please help me welcome with a huge round of applause, Caitlin. Everyone. Welcome, Caitlin. Well, as a part of this esteemed panel, we have got with us Sean A. Cooper, the director at Simro Inc. With over 36 years of experience across financial services, telecom, and cybersecurity, Sean is the global authority in proactive defense solutions, driving innovation with safeguarding institutions across North America, Europe, MENA, and beyond. With a huge round of applause, please help me welcome Sean, everyone. Welcome, Sean. Ladies and gentlemen, as a part of this esteemed panel, we have also got with us Tuguy Dervish, all the way from UK. Well, he's the CEO and founder of Fuel Me, a visionary entrepreneur. Tuguy has transformed commercial refueling with Europe's largest mobile fueling service. His model reduces emission, saves businesses millions, and proves that innovation and sustainability can indeed go hand in hand. Help me welcome Tuguy, everyone. And finally, please help me welcome Christoph, all the way from Switzerland. Christoph Schnyder, the founder, the co-founder, and managing director of ArchX on Glass AG. While based in Switzerland, Christoph has redefined art in everyday life with his unique reverse glass painting business, collaborating with architects and collectors worldwide, while also supporting families of children with autism through his foundation work. And he and his wife have been doing a phenomenal work. Please give them a huge round of applause, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, now this is the powerhouse lineup right in front of us, who is all set and ready to dive straight into the subject and create magic together. Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're excited to kick off this afternoon with this panel. I know I said earlier I'm a small person. I feel like this chair is really emphasizing that. I'm like the princess and the pea right now. All right, so we're going to kick off this panel on innovation and sustainability. We just got those beautiful introductions, but I thought I wanted to start here real first with the panel, like couple word answer. What perspective are you coming from in answering this? I'm going to look at Sean, because I know he's got a great answer for me. So what is your background in forming this?
So from a sustainability aspect, yeah, I'm going to come to it from a defensive perspective, more so than environmental, and we'll later on maybe we'll touch back to that. So basically, from my perspective, it's really allowing yourself to be to do the basics in your businesses within from a cybersecurity perspective. To use a sports analogy, just basic blocking and tackling. and general cultural hygiene, because in the cybersecurity space, we say it's a team sport. So if the weakest team member is weak, then the team is weak. You never know whom you're connected to. So if your company is vulnerable, there are many, from a supply chain perspective, many companies who've been harmed by their smaller supply chain partner.
Perfect. Thank you. Tuguy, how about you? Sure. I'm just asking kind of what your industry background perspective is leading into this panel, your perspective.
Okay, so obviously we predominantly work in the oil and gas sector. We're the largest fuel distribution business in the UK and Europe. So our sort of vision from the sustainability side is very much on alternative fuels, the sort of bio range with like CNG, LNG, hydrated vegetable oil, and sort of where governments and regulatory bodies are sort of funding or looking into those spaces for organizations to look at sustainability goals by 2030, although some of that has been pushed back. But that's sort of where my experience predominantly lies in the sustainability sector.
Perfect. How about you, Christoph?
Yes, my wife, I'm coming from Switzerland, and in Switzerland, sustainability is very important. When you want to make business, you have to say you are sustainable. If it is true or not, it's not so important. But you have to sell it. And in our business, we are making glass walls for hotels. For example, Bürgenstock, who is the owner, is Emir of Qatar. We worked for him, and it was very interesting and important for us. But the glass is not very sustainable. It needs a lot of energy to produce it. But once you have it, it lasts a long time. So we are with the problem that we have to inform the people that when you are buying these things, it's sustainable, but not when you produce it too much. So we don't speak about this.
Perfect. And how about you, Samina?
You know, innovation, I feel, is not just about technology. I mean, yes, technology is there, and we need to go with the times with the technology. But with sustainability, it's about the client experiences. You know, I feel that I always say that, you know, you draw a very fine line between service and hospitality, and how you make that person feel emotionally, and that's what creates the sustainability in your business, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, I come from a branding and marketing perspective.
Yes.
So within my clients themselves, we deal with sustainability in literally every sense of the word. But within my particular focus, it's really my job to create brands that don't just stand out for 5 minutes. They need to stand for the test of time. So that is kind of where I'm coming from for sustainability. So, Samina, I'm going to go back to you on this one. And let's kick it off here. What does innovation mean in today's business landscape, and how does it intersect with sustainability?
Like I said, that innovation is not just about technology, it's about rethinking processes and customer experiences and business models. True innovation should be sustainable by design. And if it doesn't align with environmental or social responsibility, it's short-lived. And businesses that innovate with sustainability in mind build resilience, loyalty, and long-term value.
Thank you. I mean, she just called out the environmental, so I feel like I have to go to Sean next on this one.
Yes, it's a sort of a setup, it seemed like.
I'm innocent.
Yes. So one of the challenges we do have in the cybersecurity market, which is in many references has to do with data and data processing, which we're seeing globally, all of these big data centers popping up all over the world, which are not necessarily meeting green or sustainable scenarios. So we should probably look at trying to make them more green and or legislate some of that, because the processing power needed to do what people that I work with need is immense. So I wish there was a way to be able to address that, but that's a little bit above my pay grade. It looks more policy driven than anything, but yes.
How about you, Christoph?
Yes, I agree to you. We treat the members of the factory, I think, very well. And one sign was, for example, 2 months ago, we asked our director, and I said, we'll give you more money, more salary, and she said, it's not necessary. For me, it's more important to be accepted and to have the liberty to make as I think it is okay. And she treats her employees very, very well. They are doing everything for her, and so I think the factory is, in a good sense, sustainable.
Perfect. Tuguy, how about you?
I just want to answer this properly. This is just about innovation side and sustainability, right?
Right. We're asking, what does it mean today, and how does it intersect with sustainability?
Okay, so particularly in our sector, it's pretty much at the forefront. We have timelines from policies and governments trying to put specific deadlines into what those sort of emission savings are from a carbon footprint standpoint. So the sustainability side has obviously given us a bit of a guideline, and then that particular industry has to try and innovate ways that the downstream market, so the end user, can easily integrate into those new sustainable methods. So it's definitely the driving factor for those organizations to innovate and come up with new ways of achieving what those goals are.
Perfect. And I think for me, looking at where does innovation and sustainability intersect, I would go so far as to argue that true innovation is hand in hand with sustainability the entire time. Again, I'm coming from this marketing perspective. So for me, innovation, by definition, that's a creative solution that is sustainable. If you have innovation in a vacuum, is it actually innovation? If you have innovation that you can't execute, is that innovation? Or at least not execute over the long term. I think if you take sustainability away from innovation, then you might, maybe, get short-term success, but you're definitely going to get a whole lot of long-term and unnecessary risk. So I really see them as going hand in hand. Now, let's kind of jump into some specific questions with each of you. And Samina, I'm going to start with you again. How do consumers influence the balance between innovation and sustainability?
Consumers are powerful drivers. Today's buyers, especially millennials and Gen Zs, expect businesses to align with their values. They reward sustainable innovation with loyalty and advocacy. In real estate, I see walkable neighborhoods with demand of eco-friendly homes and smart technology. Consumers push the market forward.
Absolutely, and that's thanks to my good old friend social media there. Now, Christoph, do you have anything to say in response to that? Definitely, you're in a consumer-driven business as well. Looking at how the consumers influence this balance.
I didn't understand exactly.
Sure, Samina was just talking about how consumers influence the balance between innovation and sustainability.
Yes, my profession is, I was a GP, a doctor, on the countryside. And in our business, sustainability exists since ever, but you have the big problem if you are, for example, treating a patient well, he lives longer, and he creates with his long life a lot of problems. As we see here, now you have 2.5 million people. 70 years ago, they have been 500,000 and even not. So it's always difficult. And you have to find a way that you and you have to find a way who is sustainable, but you have to think always about what is the inconvenience and the convenience. And it is not a right way like this. For example, in Switzerland, for the garbage, now I have some friends who have an enterprise for the garbage. Now you must have an electric truck, no? Because it's better for the environment and all the things. But it needs a lot of electricity, and it doesn't work for 12 hours a day. But when you have not a car like this, the state give you not anymore the business. So you are sustainable because you need the money. And this is the hypocrisy of some things.
I have to say, I've never once thought of the doctor-patient relationship as consumer, but you're very correct. We talk about client life cycles. Well, it's a literal life cycle there. So yeah, that definitely applies. Now, looking at you, Sean, you made the mistake of making eye contact with me. How do you balance short-term business goals with long-term sustainability goals?
Oh, okay. So in my world, I keep saying that, I stop saying that. In the public sector, often from a short-term perspective is really not sustainable to do business. Because typically, as opposed to the commercial world where it can be more transactional, a lot is driven by the profitability of that entity, whether they have the budget to continue to do business with you or not. But in the public sector, that is driven by tax revenues, and if you're good enough to be considered a trusted advisor, you can provide a solution to them that will continue to go on, and that only happens when you create a great relationship on a personal level with those people. So you take it out of that transactional scenario and you allow that to continue to sustain itself. As long as your technology or whatever solution you're providing doesn't crash and burn and cause any undue pain to them, as long as it continues to work, you have a sustainable scenario. It's one of the reasons why I left the commercial space 28 years ago to go into the public sector. So.
Now, have you seen any changes to this over the last, I say, particularly 5-10 years? There was just a surge in tech, and obviously in your area, so much has grown, changed, better or worse. Has that also changed this balance here?
Yes. By nature, technology is innovative. So, and to the earlier question, consumers are the ones who are driving that innovation by need. So as soon as we solve one need, someone has an idea that, hey, why don't we do this? If you can do that, that is by proxy, you should be able to do this. Well, we haven't figured that out. Let me go back to the drawing board and figure that out. So yes, there's a great aspect of that. Yeah, everything we do and all of my conversations are about what can I do more for you?
Right.
Yes.
And then, Tuguy, let me go back to you as well. From your perspective, how are you seeing consumers influence this balance of innovation and sustainability?
We have a slightly different perception.
Great.
We actually do see it from the commercial side more so. So we believe we kind of dictate that a little bit more than the consumer themselves. And it's not just because the consumer doesn't have the power or the right to do so, it's just because I'm going to give the UK as an example. If someone's put, like I said, a particular goal in place of becoming net zero, then it's up to the commercial organizations to then find a way to integrate that into the consumer's life. So we kind of see it the other way around, rather than the consumer dictating it to us what's going to happen. But at the moment, just coming back to the question you mentioned before about short-term business goals and long-term sustainability. So for us, sustainability is expensive. the moment you start looking at integrating, ways into your business to start saying, you're green or whatever it is, there needs to be a significant amount of funding behind you, just because infrastructure cost to be sustainable is quite expensive. So then you go into the conversation of like, is your short-term business goals allowing you to last long enough in order to then invest into those sustainable infrastructures? So they kind of go hand in hand, which is confusing, but that's just where the market is at the moment. There is no real infrastructure for those changes to happen today in a very commercially viable or economically viable way.
Absolutely. And Samina, from the real estate side, how is this balance of short-term and long-term?
I mean, sustainability, like I said, that it creates the foundation basically for your business. And then with the innovation, the technology, that takes you to the next level. But without sustainability, yes, it goes hand in hand, but you have to have the sustainability first to create a solid foundation in your business. And then to take it forward, you need the innovation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And with social media nowadays for our real estate market, it's all about the social media and AI taking it forward. And, I was just talking to one of our guests here today that, yes, you have the sustainability with the foundation and what you do in your business, but if you don't embrace AI, for example, the innovation with the technology, AI is not going to replace you. But for me, for an agent like me, an agent who understands AI will replace me if I don't understand AI. So yes, the technology, we have to embrace that as well.
And I love that you brought AI into this, because at this point, frankly, I feel like if you're on a panel in 2025 and AI doesn't come up, you haven't done your job. So, Mr. Cybersecurity here, what are you going to add to that?
I'm going to be the bad guy here. So AI, I know, was created or was supposed to be created to enhance what we do and allow us to be more creative and or give us access to things that we wouldn't necessarily have direct access to. But from a cybersecurity perspective, it is a bane of our existence because it continues to allow exactly what I just said for those people who have malicious intent and usage of it, and it's already going on. So many of the different attacks that we've seen, the ransomwares and the personal identifiable information steals and all of those things have been enhanced by AI. And you really have to be on your game all the time. And I'll sort of leave with this. Often, and again, dealing in the public sector space, who are being attacked, many of those countries, their specific agencies are being attacked hundreds of thousands of times every day. So the bad guy only has to be right once out of all of that. So it's a challenge.
All right, let's pivot a little bit. I'll go to Tuguy on this one. So do you see sustainability as a driver of innovation or a constraint to it?
Yeah, it's a hard one to answer in the sense that I don't have an answer, a specific answer. It kind of fits into both. So it's kind of weird, right? So sustainability 5 years ago, 10 years ago was a buzzword. And now if you're not moving into, if your business or whatever it is that you guys are doing isn't moving into the sustainability sector, it's kind of shunned upon. So we know, like, when we go raise money, let's say with like a BlackRock or a Goldman Sachs or venture capital companies, private equity companies, they'll actually specifically look at the sustainability side of things. So they'll look at if your organization has integrated anything, even if it is AI, have they integrated anything that is pushing innovation in terms of becoming more, net zero or whatever that might be. And just to add one point onto that, it's not the product itself. So like when we speak about it, we might say, like gas or biodiesel, whatever that might be. But then for a lot of organizations, they see it as a sort of, I don't know if any of you guys are aware of like what an LCA is, but it's sort of like it's a life cycle assessment. So what would happen is, even if you're like a packaging company, like Diageo, Coca-Cola, they would look at how they can basically make the whole entire supply chain more efficient. And that feeds into becoming more sustainable. It's not just about saving trees or whatever that might be. It's just about actually making the whole entire process more efficient. And a lot more of those companies are looking into that, which is then feeding into, organizations trying to find different, more innovative ways of doing things. So it is definitely a driver for innovation in that sense. However, there are constraints at the same time, but those constraints are forcing entrepreneurs to find those different ways quicker in ways that they can, whatever that allows them to do. It's just some of those constraints, a lot of it today that we know is around sort of government funding, infrastructure costs, which is super, super expensive, which is obviously slowing down the innovation part of it. So I guess my answer is sort of twofold. Yes, it does drive innovation, but it does have constraints, but those constraints feed into the innovation.
It's the Venn diagram right there.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I'm a very visual person. Christoph, how about you? Do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, as I say, my colleague from the US, you have a different view, short view and long view. And sustainability should be for long view. But who wants a long view? If you buy a Mercedes car, it is constructed for 20 years or 30 years, but nobody wants to drive the same Mercedes for 30 years. After 5 years, you want a new car. So is it necessary to construct it sustainable? I find yes, but I could not give the answer. And for our business, it's the same. We constructing the walls for showers and it would last 80 years. But after 20 years, nobody wants the same design. So it's not interesting that's sustainable. And a third example, I have a friend of my father. He invented in Germany a toothpaste. You need only one little drop. A little drop. So a toothpaste, you could use it for 1 year about. But it was not commercial success. Because if only buy one toothpaste for 1 year, you cannot make business, no? So it's really difficult to find a good way. And I'm really for the sustainability because we are too much people on the world. We have to look. But there are a lot of problems, I think, as you said.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I didn't hide the ball here from the beginning, where I definitely find sustainability as a driver of innovation. But I'm going to throw it to you, Samina. Where are you on this one?
For my business, we are service-oriented, and we have to get into the minds of the client, what they're looking for, listen better, understand them, and all these create the sustainability in the business that that the client keeps coming back because they're satisfied with the customer service we provide, right? And then first the customer service, understanding the client in 3 deep, what they understand. Because I once talked about communication, the 3 principles of communication, which I sort of dealt with. I did a TED talk earlier where the topic was the 3 principles of communication that connects the world. And, sustainability is created with the world becoming smaller through technology.
Yes.
We're going hand in hand again. And understanding the client, understanding where they're coming from, rather than understanding them, appreciating where they're coming from, rather than judging them. All those things create good customer service and repeated clientele, and all these fall into the basic principles of sustainability, in
Absolutely.
a business. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think from here, a great place to go, and I'll kick it off, but spoiler alert, I'm going to pick on all of you for this one, is let's give practical advice to everyone who's in here, who might be thinking about this for their own companies, their own businesses, their colleagues, et cetera. And that advice would be, what would you tell businesses trying to start the journey of balancing innovation and sustainability? Like I said, I can kick this off. I would start by saying, start small, but be intentional.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need a massive think tank on day one. Maybe you don't need a $15 million seed round on day one. But why don't you start with a really simple question? One that I asked a client this week. Time zones are blending the days. I'm not exactly certain where we are right now. I think it was this week. And I said, what's a change we can make that is going to propel you forward and reduce risk? That is really the ultimate question of coming down here, and it costs nothing to ask, and we can find a solution that will cost nothing to get us started. Yeah, Samina, how about you? What's a piece of advice you would give?
I didn't understand the question.
Oh, sure. What's a piece of advice you would give to a business starting the journey of balancing innovation and sustainability?
Try to master your skill first before you go to provide the service, and I'm a learner for life. I always say that, the day you stop learning, you stop growing. And you need to continuously learn to polish your skills and to be a little better for the client. And that comes with the passion in your work as well. Have passion for what you do, and be an avid learner, and keep polishing your skills so that you can give better service for your clientele. So that's
great.
I think.
Tuguy, how about you? What's a piece of advice you would give to a business trying to start the journey of balancing innovation and sustainability?
I would say figure out what sustainability actually means to you first. And then I would probably piggyback off what you said, which is to start off small. So I'll give you an actual example. One of our customers is Amazon, and Amazon have 156 sites in the UK, and they literally just have one site in the whole entire country that takes biodiesel. And then they'll push a sustainability story to say that they've started that process, rather than trying to change every single site overnight. So for us, I guess, well, actually for me, my advice would just be figure out what that means to you, get your business in shape before you start thinking about sustainability first, and then, not that it's not in shape, I'm just saying that, obviously think about your short-term goals, and then the business have a long enough run rate, and then think about slowly introducing what those sustainable methods are down the line.
No, absolutely. And I think to piggyback off that, another piece of advice I would give to this business is to look for the natural intersections of innovation and sustainability. Now, I have a feeling all of my fellow panelists and I are fairly tech savvy, but it blows my mind on the regular. Companies and clients we work with, some of which are very, very large, and I can assure you, everyone in this room has heard of, that still has antiquated systems within them. And the most simple, basic example I can give is a digital pivot. If you incorporate some sort of digital transformation in there, you're hitting sustainability on all the levels. On the natural kind of initial environmental level, you might be reducing paper waste, but you're also increasing efficiency of time and staff, which is money. You are making compliance tracking easier. I mean, that's just a natural intersection right there that is going to get you boosted on this journey. All right, Sean, your turn. What piece of advice would you give to a business looking to start the journey of balancing innovation and sustainability?
Yeah, this is where I guess to circle back. So I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. So as someone starting it, make sure that you have some basic, solid passwords on everything. Maybe even consider, beyond getting into any advanced cybersecurity techniques, or hiring out a systems integrator to come do it for you, manage it for you, even just dual authentication. And be creative with the passwords, not 1, 2, 3 and your birthday and your dog's name. But certain basic things like that will help you with some of those scenarios, and then understand that you are not too small to be attacked. Don't think that, oh, I'm just a little two-person shop and a dog. They won't come. You are just a number, and your number has value. And there's a whole ecosystem out there that says there's a value on your numbers. So, yeah, don't think you're too small to be attacked.
I love that you said that, because I think virtually everything anyone has said up here today applies to businesses of all shapes and sizes. Even if you don't think it applies to you, it does, whether too big, too small. Like Tuguy's advice, I know you're talking about these expensive initiatives and all this cost associated with it, but even a company that's not at that level, that isn't even there yet, your advice still applies equally to them. So I'm really glad that you brought that in, Sean. How about you, Christophe? What advice would you give to a company looking to balance sustainability and innovation?
Yes, I think in your business, when you're looking for sustainability, you will save money. This is a good aspect. And then, second aspect, then you can advertising it that you are a good business with certain sustainability. So you have only to win when you use these things.
Go ahead.
Actually, I have a little more to add to that. So I would also say, maybe not day one, maybe not even day 30, but soon, get with your attorneys and create a plan of action in case you are attacked for your company's intellectual property. Because if there is an attack, there is a law, at least in the US, and I know they're building one in the EU as well, that says you need to have a plan of action if your customer's information has been exposed from a cyber attack. So have a plan of action in place, because it's not a matter of if, it's when.
That sounded very daunting, but great advice, great advice. I think I would also piggyback off that a little bit, and I like to broaden, I think, a lot of people's definition of sustainability, which I know for many people really goes down to environmental, and that is fantastic. I think that's foundational. But going off what you said, you're talking about cyber attacks, which in my mind goes to websites. We'll play the 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon here off what you said. I think another great first step for a lot of companies is to, for innovation and sustainability, is to embed accessibility into your digital presence. I think that is something that is so overlooked, and is something we really make a point of working with on our clients. And what I like to tell all of them is the simple steps you can make there for accessibility for those who need it is also going to benefit everyone who simply views your website, your LinkedIn, whatever it may be. So I really think that grouping accessibility within that is a great starting point, will have a huge impact on you. The other piece of advice I really think from a brand and marketing perspective, and again, I am one of those nasty attorneys that you're talking about by trade, that's how I began, is to embed compliance, ethical, whatever it may be in your industry, embed those guardrails in your innovation process from day one. That is a whole lot harder to look back and do and try and amend things, but if you start them from day one, you can really drive growth that's not only just exciting, but that's resilient and sustainable. I think now would be a great time to kind of open it up and see if we have questions from the audience. I don't know where the microphone is, but I know there is one somewhere. Can we get a microphone over to him, please? They're coming, don't worry. Also, thank you to the incredible team here on AV. They are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. So thank you so much, guys. This was very insightful. I have a question for Sean, actually. I attended a conference last week in Porto, and they were speaking about Web 4. What can you tell us about Web 4? And do you know anything about it?
It's a good question. I do not have, I'm going to tell you honestly, I do not have a lot of briefing on that yet. I will tell you if it's anything of what I think it is, and again, I've only touched on it briefly, only to know it by name. If it's anything like anything else we've dealt with, the rules still apply. Make sure you protect yourself.
Thank you.
Perfect. I know we have another question right up here.
Thank you. Riyad Najm from Saudi Arabia. Perhaps there is one more aspect maybe that hasn't been talked about in your panel, and that is quality. Now, you want to balance between innovation and sustainability, but what about quality? Like for the example of the car, if somebody wants to buy a $100,000 car and it falls apart after 5 years, then he doesn't want to buy it, because he wants to have a residual amount of money when he doesn't want to use it. And at the same time, you cannot build an expensive car with high quality that falls apart after 5 years. So perhaps maybe the quality aspect has to be added to sustainability and innovation in order to balance the three together.
Absolutely. Christoph, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think if you are doing something really sustainable, it has high quality. It is not possible to do it otherwise. So you can have high quality without sustainability, but you cannot have sustainability without high quality. That's my opinion. And for that reason, I think we didn't speak about this, because we all thought that this the prime problem, that without quality, no sustainability, I think.
Oh, yes. I mean, I can certainly speak for me. Now, from a real estate perspective, where are you on that in terms of quality?
Quality automatically comes when the client is satisfied, right? That's what one should strive for, that listen to the client's needs and dig deeper, ask more questions, why certain things they're asking for and why not certain things. And that will give you a better understanding of the client and the services that they require. They want to be heard, right? And whether you're providing a service as a physician, you know, a physician would be asking questions that, what is your problem? What is the issue you're having, so that they can give a good diagnosis. And same thing with real estate. What is the client looking for? Why certain things? What is the timeline? We dig deep and ask questions, so that the more questions we ask, the more information we get, and we try to make notes of that, and we provide that, and that automatically gives the high quality that they're looking for, because they feel heard and they feel satisfied with what they came to us for. We have been able to deliver. So that, in my opinion, is high quality.
Perfect. Do you have any other questions from the audience? Christoph.
I want to answer to the man from Saudi Arabia. I have an excavator import from China too. And we export excavator machines from Tuguy. It's one of the biggest enterprises, but the quality is medium. And the price is very low. And so in Switzerland, normally you buy an excavator from the Komatsu or Liebherr or all these big enterprises, and there you have a good quality. And when you buy an excavator from AU, the quality is not so good, but it costs half price. So the people who buy our excavator, they know it's half price, it's less good, but if it works for 5 years, it's okay. I make good business. And here the sustainability is unimportant. So it's really difficult. I think you have to find the problem. If someone was sustainability, it's not Temu. You know Temu? It's the business from China. You can buy all this stuff for $1 or so. And this is a problem, we cannot resolve it. So we have two things. One is high quality. One factor is high quality and the other is low quality. So we give to everyone what they want.
I never thought Christoph was going to bring Temu into this. Never.
I always say there's a reason Nordstrom never panics when Walmart goes on sale.
It's true. It's all about the storytelling.
Yeah.
Just what you're telling the story about might differ.
Yes.
Great question. Thank you for that. All right, I think to wrap up, I'm going to give everyone the spotlight. Sean knows I'm going to pick on him first. He knows because he's ready. So what would be your parting message to this room? We're in a room of elites here. What wisdom would you impart upon them on innovation and sustainability?
I'm not sure there's too much I can tell this audience that they don't already know. I kind of touched on a lot of it earlier. So in your roles, in your different places, your personal life as well as in your corporate lives or your business lives, take those things to heart. I know it can be a little bit challenging when you're logging into something and it says, I'm going to send you a text to verify it's you, I'm going to send you an email, you got to go over here and there. All of that is in response to the threat, the ongoing and growing threat. The more things we put on the internet, the greater the threat becomes. So the wider, as we say, your surface area becomes. The more devices you have on the internet, the wider your surface area is. So take those things to heart. I don't like them either. It's just like I don't like having to go through security all the time at the airport. But it's necessary, but get used to it, live it, because it's gonna save you at some point.
You should write children's books. My sweet dreams or nightmares, I'm not certain, but you should write children's books. All right, Samina, how about you? What would be kind of be like the last piece of wisdom you'd like to impart upon the audience?
I mean, from building your business point of view, I would say keep good systems in place, systems that will build a solid foundation and build off of that system. You know, so that's the biggest thing, that you should have a solid system in place, because otherwise things will crumble when you start to grow too fast. And, you know, take your time, see, and have good systems.
Build that foundation first.
Yes.
Yes. How about you, Christoph? Parting notes?
Yes, I agree.
Please bring up Temu again.
I agree. And I think when you are making a good business, sustainable, the price is correct, then, and you earn a little bit or a lot, then you will be satisfied, 100%. If you sales old stuff, I think you're never satisfied.
Tuguy, how about you?
I would probably say look at scope 1, 2, and 3 emission zones for sustainability. Obviously, some of those scopes you guys can look at who you're getting your supply from, if that's your business, and you can change some things from your suppliers of wherever that supply chain is without you actually having to tangibly change anything about your business, and that can already get things going for you. And then further down the line, as I said earlier, just look at ways you can come up with becoming a little bit more sustainable, but in stages, and not doing everything all at once.
That's great advice. And I think for me, again, with my background, I would say that brand messaging is key. You might have the most incredible innovations, and you might be just a pioneer in sustainability, whatever that may mean to you. But if you're not telling your story, then either someone else is or no one is being told your story. So I would definitely say that, and I would say be strategic yet authentic. Again, dress for the job you want, I'm all here for that, but it needs to be a job in this universe. So you have to balance that strategic mindset with authenticity, and that is going to build lasting trust. Now, if you want to talk about sustainability, lasting trust all day long over some short-term wins. So thank you all. Thank you to my panelists, and thank you all for being here today.